We've got a loaded show here today on New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. This is what we got coming up. We got a Rokas Jokubaitis update. He was the 34th overall pick by the New York Knicks in 2021. He's been overseas. They still own his rights in the NBA and could now be the time that he comes over. We have some updates on if he'll play in Summer League. Also, some rumors are swirling around Knicks assistant head coach Johnnie Bryant. There are thoughts and people out there that believe he is a top candidate to become the next head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then Ian Begley, in his most recent mailbag on SNY, I thought he had a pretty interesting response to a person who asked about putting injury guarantees in the contract of OG Anunoby. We'll break down those quotes at the end of the show. But first, I got to make sure every single person watching is subscribed to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We put out free, informative, entertaining updates every single day, and we are in a subscriber battle with Boston Celtics today, another channel here at Chat Sports. Our postseason run is over. Theirs, it's just getting started with the NBA Finals starting, and I want to beat them in subscribers picked up this May. So if you love the Knicks and you hate the Celtics, subscribe to the channel. Rokas Jokubaitis. Could he be coming over and playing with the Knicks this summer or maybe even this upcoming season? You guys have asked me about him a lot, and I continue to tell you I haven't heard much, and I don't think he is in the plans of Leon Rose for the long-term plans of the New York Knicks. But we did get an update over the weekend from this Knicks Buzz Twitter account, and they say sources confirm it's doubtful that Rokas Jokubaitis plays in the Summer League due to his pre-Olympic tournament national team commitments in July. If Lithuania fails to qualify, the possibility could open up for Summer League. However, Jokubaitis is still intending to pursue the NBA this season, pending a release from Barcelona. He said Lithuania will compete in the Olympic qualifying tournament, tipping off on the 2nd of July in Puerto Rico. Lithuania plays in Group A against, I can't even see what that says at this point, in Mexico. Does not sound like Rokas is going to come over this summer. And to be honest with you, I'm not even sure he's ever going to play for the New York Knicks. And that's unfortunate because he was the 34th pick in the draft in 2021. He did play with the Knicks Summer League in the summer of 2021. He played in just 3 games before leaving to go back to play overseas. He played in 29 minutes in total, 19 points and 2 assists. You look at his stats over the past year when you talk about him playing overseas with Barcelona in the EuroLeague and the Liga ACB. And honestly, the stats are a little bit underwhelming to me. I think there's a lot of hype about Jokubaitis because of the unknown. And Knicks fans love to ask me, Marsh, can he be our backup point guard? Can he be the guy that leads the team off the bench? And I'm not going to say no, but I also don't think that really there's a spot for him. And I don't know if he's an NBA caliber player. Shot 31% from the field in EuroLeague in 31 games, 48.6% in the Liga ACB, but he only attempted 1.2 threes per game. I don't think he really plays that much of a modern style, but I understand the attractment that he has to a lot of Knicks fans. I thought he played pretty well in the FIBA World Cup this past summer for Lithuania, averaged 12 points per game, 5.3 assists, 4.3 rebounds, shot 50% from the field. Once again, a really good percentage from 3, but he only shot 2.3 threes per game. He had 3 really good, he played in 3 games in the World Cup, had 2 really good games. The other one was he only scored 2 points, so the stats kind of got diminished because of that. I thought he played well, but to be honest with you, if you're asking me if I ever think he plays for the Knicks, I don't think so. I don't think he'll ever come over because I don't remember who wrote the article. It was a couple of months ago. I apologize. But they pretty much said he's only going to come over and play if he's guaranteed playing time and a spot on this roster. And I don't see Tibbs just guaranteeing playing time to someone that's never played in the NBA, let alone a roster spot. I'm not sure if he's in the long-term plans of Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Tom Thibodeau, or anybody that makes big-time decisions for the New York Knicks. I'd like to see him over in Summer League, see him play with potentially the 2-3 rookies that the Knicks draft this year, bring some excitement there. It hasn't been a lot of fun at Summer League for the Knicks in a while since there was Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley playing together. So I'd love to see Rokas in the Summer League this summer. But I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't necessarily think he'll ever play for the New York Knicks. What do you think? Do you want to see Rokas on the Knicks this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Story number 2 on today's video, Johnnie Bryant. Could he be the next Cleveland Cavaliers head coach? There's been some rumors out there, and I've talked to some people that said, Marshall, you might want to be aware that Johnnie Bryant is at the top of the list when it comes to the replacements for J.B. Bickerstaff and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ian Begley also reported this in an article he recently put out saying Knicks associate head coach Johnnie Bryant is among a group of coaches who will be considered by Cleveland during its coaching source. Bryant is more than deserving to become a head coach, and I think a large part of the evolution that Tom Thibodeau has undergone, Bryant kind of deserves some of that credit. I've kind of heard that Bryant is the offensive coordinator for the New York Knicks, and Tibbs is the defensive coordinator. Not sure how true that is, just what I have heard. And every single player that talks about Johnnie Bryant praises him. He works out with them. They hang out in the summer. Donovan Mitchell has pretty much called him his best friend, and they are really good friends for the time that they spent together with the Utah Jazz back in the late 2010s at this point. Wow, time is just flying by. But if you want to keep Donovan Mitchell on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who Brian Windhorst just came out with a quote and said he's got just as much pull in an organization than any star across the NBA. He literally said the amount of decision-making power that Donovan Mitchell has with the Cavaliers is similar to what LeBron James has with the Lakers. And if this is true, what Donovan Mitchell said about Johnnie Bryant, said, I love him to death, man. He's a guy who wants me to be the best. In 3 years, he's pushed me past my limits. And if Donovan Mitchell wants Johnnie Bryant to be the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they want to re-sign him, and they want him to retire a Cavalier, hiring him might make a lot of sense. I mean, you want to keep him happy, you want to keep him in Cleveland. Sounds like he doesn't want to be there. Things could change, and especially if you get Johnnie Bryant on the bench being your head coach for that ball club, get to pair him back up with so many respects. Supposedly did not love J.B. Bickerstaff all that much. And it would stink to see Johnnie Bryant leave because I think that he is kind of the unsung hero for the Knicks. The offense, the relationship with players, kind of that different voice that connects Tibbs to the locker room at times. It would be a major loss for the Knicks. So selfishly, I don't want to see him leave. But for the guy, the man, and the dude, Johnnie Bryant, I hope he becomes a head coach one day because he's deserved it and he's put the work in. Coming up next, OG Anunoby, contract latest. Could there be some nuance in this contract where games played kind of determines his salary? And sounds like the Sixers are ready to empty the bank to make him Philadelphia's own. We'll talk about that around the corner. But first, I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor, PrizePicks. Go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS, and PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app, will match your first deposit up to $100. With the NBA Finals around the corner, now is the time to play PrizePicks. The NHL playoffs are heating up, and before you know it, the NFL will be here. If you want to have a chance to 10x your money, turn $10 into $100 based off your basketball, football, baseball, hockey, NASCAR, golf IQ, do it at PrizePicks. Play PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. All you do is create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you simply choose more or less on their projected stat line. They've already got some lineups that you can make for the Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals between the Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going with more than 3.5 three-pointers made for Luka. I think he's going to have a big game, and I think the Wolves are going to get closed out. But I expect the savvy vet, Mike Conley, to give you some production. I'll take the more on his 12.5 points. You can roll with these picks or fade these picks, but I kindly ask, if you're going to play PrizePicks, you do it with our proud sponsor here at Knicks Now at PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. That's PrizePicks.com/CLNS, and use that promo code CLNS, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. Win big money, withdraw your winnings, pick more, pick less, play PrizePicks. All righty. So Ian Begley of SNY, probably the best beat reporter, one of the best beat reporters for the New York Knicks. Check him out on Twitter. He does awesome stuff. He did a mailbag over the weekend, and he mentioned that there could be injury protections in the contract for OG Anunoby, and he also hinted that the Philadelphia 76ers are ready to pounce if he does become a free agent. This was the exchange on his mailbag. Question came in from @the_cooler saying, what's an OG Anunoby extension going to look like? Do the Knicks have to fill it with games played minimums to protect themselves? Do they have to fully guarantee it? Begley responds, what's up, Cooler? The Knicks don't need to fully guarantee Anunoby's deal. If I had to guess, they'll look to put some injury protections in the contract. But Anunoby should have other suitors in the market. We've noticed that Philadelphia could pursue Anunoby. If the Sixers make an offer to Anunoby at a certain dollar amount or without injury protections, maybe it forces the Knicks to sign Anunoby without any injury protections. And the reason that the Knicks want to do this is, let's just call it what it is. OG Anunoby hasn't been all that healthy throughout his career. Last couple of years, he played in 50 games, 67, 48, and 43, and he missed time in the playoffs again. And the Knicks don't really have any leverage here. You already traded R.J. Barrett. You already traded Emmanuel quickly. And all the teams across the association know you are going to have to do absolutely whatever it takes for Anunoby to put pen to paper to re-sign with your team. This is the bed the Knicks chose to lie in. You knew OG had some injury issues. I don't have a problem with the trade. I still think the Knicks won the trade by a mile. I think it was one of the best trades in modern NBA history. You gave up two players who I think are role players on winning teams, and you didn't give up any first-round picks. Anunoby's a great player. There's no doubt about that. The injuries are also a concern of mine. But the Knicks got to do whatever it takes to get him back. Because if you trade RJ and you trade quickly and you only get 23 regular season games of Anunoby, that's going to be a bad, bad look for this organization, and I'm not sure how they could recover. The Knicks, though, they can't offer more than anybody else in free agency to OG. They can offer a 5-year deal worth $245 million, while the rest of the NBA, like for the Philadelphia 76ers, can only go up to 4 years and $182 million. I don't think that this is going to be close to the number that Anunoby signs. If it goes 5 years, I could see 200, 5 years, 200. If it goes 4 years, I could see 4 years, 160, and maybe that's where the Sixers just say, we'll give you 4 years, 180, and then the Knicks have to match that or exceed that. I have no doubt that OG is going to be a Knick. You don't trade for him unless you know he's going to re-sign. Only if the Knicks knew his agent. Oh, wait, they do. Their head of basketball operations is Leon Rose. OG Anunoby's agent, Sam Rose. They don't just have the same last name. Sam Rose is the son of Leon Rose. I wouldn't be shocked if there's already been a little handshake deal under the table. And if you're saying, Marshall, there's no way I would offer OG Anunoby this money, listen to these stats from my guy Tommy Beer, one of the best follows on Knicks Twitter. Check him out. He always does these deep dives into analytics, and I'm a big fan of him. So listen to this, some on-off numbers for OG. With Anunoby on the floor, the Knicks scored 122.6 points per 100 possessions, higher than the league-leading Celtics. They allowed 100.9 points per 100 possessions, lower than the league-leading T-Wolves. They posted a net rating of plus 21.7, meaning they outscored opponents by 21.7 points per 100 possessions with him on the floor. When OG was on the floor, they had the best offense in the league, and they had the best defense in the league. To sum it up, New York somehow operated as the most efficient, effective offensive team in the NBA and the best, stingiest defensive team in the league. During that same stretch, with OG on the bench, the Knicks averaged 115.7 points per 100 possessions and allowed 102.4 points per 100 possessions. They posted a net rating of minus 4.7. The Knicks were better than 25 points per 100 possessions when OG was on the floor compared to off the floor. And we saw him take his game to another level in the playoffs. If you erase that 5-point heroic performance where he tried to pull off his own Willis Reed, OG Anunoby averaged 16.4 points in the playoffs. He had 28 points through 2.5 quarters before that hamstring injury against the Indiana Pacers. I thought he started to get in a groove. He had that mid-range step back working, and I'm only expecting him to take his game to another level. And the Knicks, they know that they need to keep Anunoby around. And there's a sample size out there that says when Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and OG Anunoby play together, they're the best team in the NBA. We just showed you when OG was on the floor, they had the best offense and the best defense. Knicks were 11-1 when this big three played together. They won by an average of 18.7 points per game in that stretch. They were the best team in the NBA in the month of January. It's January. I don't want to put too much stock into it, but 12 games, it's a decent enough sample size for me to acknowledge that, one, the Knicks with OG, Randall, and Brunson can win a lot of games, and the 23 regular season games that OG played, the Knicks the data shows that they're better with him. If you're wondering, Marshall, did the Knicks really even beat any good teams when Julius, Jalen, and OG played together? Yeah, they beat some pretty good teams. They did. They beat the T-Wolves by 6. They beat Joel Embiid and the Sixers by 36. They beat Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets by 38. And they beat the Miami Heat by 16 in their own building. Letting OG walk in free agency would be a major L for Leon Rose. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that it is almost a fact at this point that OG is going to sign a deal with the Knicks this summer, and I can't wait to root him on in the Garden and see his game continue to grow and blossom, as I think he could be close to an 18, 19, 20 point per game scorer down the line and continue to be, in my opinion, the best wing defender in the NBA. If you want Anunoby to be back on the Knicks next season, you want him to re-sign a contract, hit that thumbs up icon. Like the video if you want to see Anunoby back on the Knicks next year. And make sure to hit me up on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG at @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up over there, and let's go Knicks!